Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam. It is July the 4th, Monday morning, and I am Jagjit, bringing you the 68th episode of Weekly Takes Saptahiki from New York. Since last week, New York has been witnessing summer with temperatures ranging from 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, which is similar to what one is witnessing in Delhi or Patna. In today's 68th episode, we'll be talking about happenings in India, America, and news of the world. Today, it is 4th of July, Independence Day, and a federal holiday here in the United States commemorating the Declaration of Independence, which was ratified by the Second Continental Congress on July 4, 1776. Parades are often held in the morning before family get-togethers, while fireworks displays occur in the evening after dark at such places as parks, sporting venues, fairgrounds, public shorelines, or town squares. A salute of one gun for each state in the United States, called a Salute to the Union, is fired on Independence Day at noon by any capable military base, 50 of them. New York City has the largest firework display in the country, sponsored by Macy's. It generally holds displays in the East River, posting some pictures from 2021. Let's begin. Much has happened in this week. चलिए शुरू करते हैं भारत के समाचारों से. On Tuesday, June 28th, two persons belonging to the Muslim religion beheaded a 40-year-old man, Kanhaiya Lal, a Hindu, in broad daylight at his tailoring shop in a market in Rajasthan's Udaipur city on allegedly over some inflammatory social media posts in the last few days. The killers then released the chilling video of his beheading. Another video recorded a few days earlier promising to behead Kanhaiya Lal, and a third video in a rejoicing mood after the incident, and also warning the Prime Minister and everyone else, गुस्ताखे रसूल की एक ही सजा सर तन से जुदा, and appealing to all other Muslims, दुआओं में याद रखना. And this is nothing else but the story of Islamic terrorism repeating itself. Another day, another city, another victim, another terror attack, another innocent loss of life. Story is the same, only names and places differ. This time, killers are Ghaus Muhammad and Riaz, and victim is Kanhaiya Lal, a poor tailor. Before it was B. Nagaraju in Hyderabad, Rajni Bala and Vijay Kumar in Kulgaon, Rahul Bhatt in Vadgaon. The list is endless. Story is the same. The question is, where is all this coming from? Amazingly, this terror is directly coming from the Holy Book. For all those, please read the Holy Quran, chapter 8, verse 12, which when translated means, remember when your Lord inspired to the angels, I am with you, so strengthen those who have believed. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieved, so strike them upon the necks and strike from them every fingertip. And so, this is not just a stray incident, but an extraordinary situation which demands extraordinary measure. The government has to take harsh measure for the benefit of its citizens and not be bothered about the reactions from the so-called liberal brigade or the notorious champions of human rights. Not only that, there should be speedy trial courts for terror-related offences, but I propose that anyone committing a terror attack must be detained and all the property and assets of his or her and their kin confiscated by the government. Exemplary punishment must be given to instill fear among proponents of such heinous thoughts. If need be, the laws must be changed, for it is the larger common good. And in several interviews in the media, people have appealed for yogi-type government, which only can perhaps stop such incidents. Look at China and how its government treats the Uyghur Muslims. Let's understand a little history very briefly. Islam has been practiced in China since the 7th century. Muslims are a minority group in China with a population of almost 150 million. The greatest concentration of Muslims is in Xinjiang province, which holds a significant Uyghur population. And look at how they are treated. Uyghurs are banned from fasting during the holy month of Ramzan, naming their children with traditional Muslim names and wearing beards. All this is banned. The question remains, will one-sided secularism or Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb survive in India? My answer is yes, but we need to root out the radical variety for which the community has to come forward. One bad fish can spoil the whole pond. Take, for example, a box of apples. If one is rotten and we have to locate which one, there are two ways. Number one, pick each one and find out. Number two, one apple tells you the third to my right and second in row is the rotten one, meaning thereby that someone among the apples need to come forward and identify. But the problem is that none among the apples are coming forward to identify or even acknowledge that there is a rotten one amongst them, and in which they are ably assisted by the so-called secular brigade. And this time, the story did not end there. In a scathing indictment, the bench of Justices Suryakant and J.B. Pardiwala in an open court said, the way she has ignited emotions across the country, this lady is single-handedly responsible for what is happening in the country. This was said about Nupur Sharma. But an interesting point to note here is that Nupur Sharma had approached the court to club together the 9 FIRs filed against her in different parts of the country and be heard at one place as her life was in danger. Instead of hearing that, the most honorable Supreme Court started giving sermons, making observations. मेरा भारत के नागरिक होने के नाते माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट के न्यायाधीशों से एक सवाल है। नूपुर शर्मा आपके पास आई थी राहत मांगने के लिए कि सभी एफआईआर को एक जगह कर दो, लेकिन आपने नूपुर शर्मा को ही फटकार लगा दी, उसको जिम्मेदार ठहरा दिया। उदयपुर की घटना के लिए भी नूपुर शर्मा को जिम्मेदार बताया गया, देश के लिए खतरा बता दिया नूपुर शर्मा को। कहा गया कि नूपुर शर्मा की वजह से माहौल खराब हुआ और उदयपुर की घटना हुई। मेरा ससम्मान एक प्रश्न है, सहिष्णुता के नाम पर हिंदुओं की बलि कब तक दी जाएगी? उस पूरी डिबेट को सुप्रीम कोर्ट को देखना चाहिए, जहां कुछ मौलवी और मुस्लिम नेता बार बार शिवलिंग का उपहास उड़ा रहे थे, अभद्र भाषा का प्रयोग कर रहे थे, नूपुर शर्मा को उकसा रहे थे। क्या उनको छूट है? और क्या नूपुर शर्मा का वही कहना जो उनके किताबों में लिखा है, जिसे उनके कई धर्मगुरुओं ने कहा है, का दोहराना गलत है? मुनव्वर फारूकी, जुबैर, एमएफ हुसैन के साथ कुछ नहीं हुआ। हिंदू कानूनन कार्यवाही करता है तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट को अच्छा लगता है। कभी इन सब को फटकार लगाई क्या? इन्हें माफी मांगने को कहा क्या? इन्हें देश का माहौल खराब करने वाला बताया क्या? नहीं, क्योंकि हिंदू शांत है और मुस्लिम एग्रेसिव, ये बात सुप्रीम कोर्ट जानती है। अकबरुद्दीन अवैसी ने कहा था 15 मिनट के लिए पुलिस हटा दो, 15 करोड़ 100 करोड़ पर भारी पड़ेंगे। उस पर यह कोर्ट 12 साल केस चलाती है और उसको बरी कर देती है। कभी उसको माफी मांगने के कहा गया क्या? उसने माता सीता व भगवान का उपहास उड़ाया, कभी उसे माफी मांगने को कहा गया क्या? नहीं, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट जानती है कि हिंदू सहिष्णु है, कुछ नहीं करेगा। सुप्रीम कोर्ट की टिप्पणियों से साफ पता चलता है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी ये कहना चाहती है कि तुम बहुसंख्यक हो, तुम्हारे भगवानों का अपमान हो या कुछ भी हो, चुप रहना और चुपचाप सहो, तभी देश का माहौल अच्छा होगा। और कोई आपके भगवान का अपमान करे और आवेश में आप अल्पसंख्यकों के भगवान पर गलती से भी टिप्पणी कर दें, तो आप देश का माहौल खराब कर रहे हैं और आपको सजा तो मिलनी ही चाहिए। अल्पसंख्यकों के भगवान का अपमान होगा तो माहौल बिगड़ जाएगा। मेरा एक सवाल, और माननीय नूपुर शर्मा किस बात की माफी मांगे माय लॉर्ड? वो तो सिर्फ ऑब्जर्वेशन में न कहें, लिख कर दें। और नूपुर शर्मा ने जो कहा वो गलत है तो सही क्या है माननीय? वो भी माय लॉर्ड लिख कर दें। पूरा भारत आपसे माफी मांगेगा. Justice Kant had recently pulled up security agencies for not doing enough to protect the judiciary in India. His life is invaluable, but the lives of Hindus and all other citizens are expendable. Sir, do remember you are appointed under the hand and seal of the President, whose, and yours too, salaries are paid by taxes of citizens of India, whom you may not know. In America, more than 700,000 people have signed a petition calling for Justice Clarence Thomas to be impeached following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe and Wade. Many protested outside their homes. It is a right of a citizen in a democracy, and I do believe, my Lord, that you do also do remember that India is a democracy, and in a democracy, every citizen has a right to protest. Dear friends, let me remind you all that it started with the mocking of shivling by leftists and Islamists, and this fact has been hidden very cleverly, done by the ecosystem and a carefully designed script. The narratives are designed this way. Everyone remembers Gujarat riots, but nobody remembers Sabarmati Express. I live in a country where anyone can mock Hinduism and hurt the sentiments of Hindus. But if you say anything against Islam or any other minority, you have a loose tongue and you have to apologize to the nation for hurting their sentiments. This is what it is. Hinduism teaches ahimsa is the supreme dharma, has no anti-blasphemy or apostasy laws, no eternal hell. Hinduism teaches self-realization and union with the divine for all, has no history of crusades, inquisitions or conversion wars. Perhaps the honorable judges also do know this. But do remember, Justice Suryakant of the Supreme Court is most likely to be the Chief Justice of India in 2025 and is likely to have a tenure of 1 year, 3 months as the Chief Justice of India. And sir, one last question. Who should the honorable judges apologize for the 4.7 crores pending cases, as delay in justice is denial of justice? And who should the honorable justice apologize for opening the courts at night for a section of people? Do sentiments only hurt when it is of the so-called minority majority? The people of India are not going to take it lying down. Let me remind you. But I am with you, my Lord, because I cannot afford to be otherwise. पर क्या माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट जानती है कि भारत बदल रहा है? सनातनियों, हिंदुत्व के मुद्दे पर 40 विधायक एक हो गए तो महाराष्ट्र की सरकार ही चली गई. सोचो, देश के सारे हिंदू अगर एक हो गए तो क्या हो सकता है? Supreme Court संज्ञान लें. Now a little bit about Maharashtra politics. It all started from June 20th, 2022. In the fiercely fought Maharashtra Legislative Council polls, the BJP got the better of the Mahavikas Aghadi alliance by winning 5 out of the 10 seats, with 12 Sena MLAs reportedly cross-voting in favor of Mr. Fadnavis-led BJP. June 21st, Shiv Sena leader and State Minister Eknath Shinde goes untraceable, along with 11 MLAs, putting the stability of the MVA government in question. June 28th, Mr. Fadnavis hands over a letter to the governor requesting him to direct a floor test in the assembly. Mr. Koshyari, the governor, issues directions for a test on June 30th. Thackeray Group goes to the Supreme Court to stop the floor test. June 29th, after allowing an urgent hearing to Shiv Sena's plea, the Supreme Court refuses to stay the floor test ordered by the governor. The same day, Mr. Thackeray resigns as the Chief Minister and also as an MLC. June 30th, Eknath Shinde reaches Mumbai to hold a meeting with Mr. Fadnavis and other BJP leaders. They had gone earlier to Surat in Gujarat and then to Guwahati. The two leaders then go to the Raj Bhavan and stake claim to form the next government. The same evening, Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde was on Thursday sworn in as Maharashtra Chief Minister, while BJP's Devendra Fadnavis took oath as the Deputy Chief Minister. July 3rd, special two-day assembly session starts in which Rahul Narvekar of the BJP was elected to the post of the Speaker of the House. July 4th, the Shiv Sena BJP got together and won the floor test with 164 to 99 votes. What is next? एक बात मैं हमेशा कहता हूं कि राजनीति में जो दिखता है वो होता नहीं है और जो होता है वो दिखता नहीं है। सबको दिखा कि देवेंद्र फडणवीस मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे, पर हुआ नहीं। पर देवेंद्र फडणवीस उप मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे ये हुआ, पर किसी को दिखा नहीं। यही है राजनीति का मास्टर स्ट्रोक। देवेंद्र फडणवीस के बनने पर एक सिंपैथी वेव उद्धव की तरफ जा सकती थी, जिसका नुकसान म्युनिसिपल इलेक्शंस में मौजूदा सरकार को भुगतना पड़ सकता था। पर एकनाथ शिंदे के मुख्यमंत्री बनने से चुनावी लड़ाई म्युनिसिपैलिटी की सेना वर्सेस सेना में होगी, जिसका फायदा सरकार को मिलेगा। दूसरा सबसे बड़ा फायदा होगा महाराष्ट्र की राजनीति से डायनेस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स का अंत, जो देश के लिए हितकर है। पता नहीं ये शुभ समाचार कांग्रेस पार्टी में कब देखने को मिलेगा, जहां जमीन से जुड़े और पढ़े लिखे कार्यकर्ताओं और नेताओं की कोई कद्र नहीं है। चाटुकारिता ही जहां परम धर्म है, वहां क्या उम्मीद की जा सकती है। जरूरत है एकनाथ शिंदे समान मोटिवेटिंग लीडर की और उसके एक लीप ऑफ फेथ की। कांग्रेस में बहुत ऐसे नेता हैं जिनके पास एक्सपीरियंस, काबिलियत, सक्षमता और जनता के नब्ज को समझने की शक्ति है, जो डायनास्टों से कतई नहीं है। वो तो इस पार्टी को खत्म करने के कसम खाए हुए हैं। नाउ स्विचिंग गियर्स एंड टॉकिंग अबाउट न्यूज अराउंड द वर्ल्ड। It is the 131st day of the Ukraine-Russia war. Today, Russia has claimed control over the last Ukrainian stronghold in an eastern province that is key to achieving a major goal of its grinding war. Ukraine's General Staff of the military reported that its forces has withdrawn from Lysychansk in Luhansk province. But the president said the fight for the city was ongoing. If confirmed, Russia's complete seizure of Luhansk would provide its forces a stronger base from which to press their advance in the neighboring Donetsk province and bring them one step closer to achieving one of President Vladimir Putin's major goals, capturing the entire Donbass region. Meanwhile, here in the United States, people do not want Biden to contest in 2024. A Harvard-Capps-Harris poll survey shared exclusively with The Hill found that 71% of respondents polled do not think Biden should run for a second term, compared to 29% who say he should run. Among the contingent of respondents who believe the president should not run, 45% said Biden should not make another bid because he's a bad president, while about one-third of respondents says he's too old, and about one quarter said because it is time for a change. And an interesting question on the eve of Independence Day. How many Americans are proud of their country? According to Gallup poll data collected between June 1 and 20 this year, only 38% of US adults say they are extremely proud to be an American. However, before 2015, no less than 55% of US adults said they were extremely proud. This dimension of patriotism has been subject to change throughout the years, depending on a variety of factors, including the popularity of the sitting president, the health of the economy, which is at its extreme low at this point. And now, about some of my viewers' concerns. There were some comments made about in the last episode, which I would like to reply. A friend of mine commented, Jagjit ji, can you enlighten us on what the general Americans think about the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war? My dear friend, The decreasing popularity of President Joe Biden is ample proof of the sentiments of the people. No American is happy with the rising prices and soaring inflation. A journalist friend and a classmate, Ajit Jha, wrote after my comments on BBC that he said, I think BBC is an independent organization free from government control, not like Indian media, which, despite being independent in law, is scared of government's harassment and has turned out to be called as Godi media. My reply: BBC is a public corporation of the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sports. Tom Mills, a lecturer in the Sociology and Policy at Aston University and former co-editor of New Left Project, in his first book, The BBC Myth of a Public Service, says the following. BBC, that it isn't independent from governments, let alone from the broader establishment. The BBC has always been formally accountable to ministers for its operations. Governments set the terms under which it operates. They appoint its most senior figures, who in future will be directly involved in day-to-day managerial decisions making, and they set the level of the license fee, which is the BBC's major source of income. So that's the context within which the BBC operates. And it hardly amounts to independence in any substantive sense. And before we end, let's move to your most loved segment of Saptahiki, some little known but unknown facts. Did you know that there is a secret indoor rainforest hidden in an office building in New York? Besides being in the middle of New York City, this forest is inside an office building where it has been happily growing since 1967. The Ford Foundation's Center for Social Justice was designed by world-renowned architects Kevin Roche and John Dinkelu. It was commissioned by Henry Ford II to house Ford's non-profit, the Ford Foundation. This building is 12 stories tall and has huge windows to let the light in. However, you might walk past it 100 times and not realize that the indoor atrium is full of trees, unless you walk by at night and the inside is lit. Once you step inside, you will be amazed at just how forested it is. Originally, this indoor forest had 37 trees, 999 shrubs, 148 vines, and 22,000 individual ground cover plants. Some have died and have been replaced over the past 5.5 decades. The glass roof is 160 feet from the forest floor. It lets light in so the plants can grow, but some artificial light is also necessary to keep the plants alive and healthy. The pond in the atrium is an attractive feature. Rainfall is collected from the roof to water the plants and to supply water to this pool. Now you also know, and whenever next you are in New York City, this is a must visit. The address is 320 East 43rd Street, New York, 10017. Did you know that Trump is still banned on Twitter? But pervert Democrat Anthony Weiner, who sexted minors, is now back on Twitter. So now you know which party does Twitter support. Yesterday, 2 of my school friends with their lovely wives were in New York on a 15-day tour of Canada and USA. We had a lovely time together at lunch, where one said that after meeting me, he does feel like he's in Patna itself. Sharing a picture. Hope some of you recognize them. Notice the happiness and joy in each of our faces. I was meeting them after almost 30 to 35 years. That is all I have for today. Waiting for your comments to develop the structure of the next episode. And yes, if you liked the program, I know you did, then please press the like button. And to keep yourself informed about the future programs, subscribe the channel. Till next week, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.